I'm Josh Hartnett, and this is L'Officiel Homme. Being a man in 2018 is to be I think, an explorer. I always feel like I'm a bit a fish out of water, and I enjoy that. Um, it's about opening up and learning, and yeah, I don't know. Fellini was my first real cinematic crush, like the filmmaker that really turned me on to filmmaking. Jean-Michel Basquiat was my first real obsession as far as visual arts go. Individuality. I think style is personal. So much gets co-opted by fashion, but I think real style is individual. You know, it's easy to critique. It's less easy to find passion. I think that we're living in an incredibly global age, in spite of the obvious backlash recently politically, and people cutting themselves off from other countries politically. Uh, I think that you still have access, and people are still people. I mean, I shot this film in Tokyo with a mostly Japanese cast, and I spent a lot of my time in London with my English partner, and we have two children who travel with us. So I feel very international still, even though some of the world is starting to feel scared and closed off. It's unsentimental, which is something that I appreciate when someone is telling a personal story. I think that the idea that all of these characters are forced to unmask themselves or are being unmasked by circumstances. John, my character, doesn't really do any of the work. He just has himself exposed over the course of the film, because at the beginning he's living in a foreign country and accepting other people's assumptions about him, which aren't at all true. And by the end of it, I think he's forced to reckon with himself. So it's a story about opening up and removing some masks. The connection to its history, and then their ability to appropriate other cultures and perform some of the tasks that people hold dear around the world better than the originators, blows my mind. And like, they make incredible whiskey, and even some friends of mine who are Scottish will admit that. 40 doesn't scare me. The number doesn't scare me at all. I don't feel any older than I did at 25. But I feel like my life has grown in depth and richness, and I always appreciate the fact that I'm still able to feel youthful and do the type of work that I do at the age of 40. You know, I always thought of it as a young person's game, but it doesn't. It seems to be becoming more complex and more interesting as I get older. So I'm not scared of it at all. I actually really look forward to it. I don't look at myself very often. It's not like I have a theater at home and I play Josh Hartnett movies on repeat, and I don't Google myself. There's too much else out there. There's too much better, more interesting stuff to look at.